We're in the B deck now. They stepped out of the kitchen and into a hallway that looked rather familiar. A metal grate stretched from the wall to wall. Beyond it were two elevators and the entrance to the kitchen. They had entered the kitchen from one door and come out the other. That meant their map of the ship's interior was accurate. At least there, they laid the map out in front of them and began to discuss the next step. Wow. There were 4 possible routes. Maybe C and D, first A and B. A and B both seemed to connect to an L-shaped room. However, the 2 doors that led to the room... Is that the casino? Were both locked and could not be opened. Next was Route C. This goes all the way to the main staircase. That means it's door 5, one of the numbered doors. Did you think we would meet up with the other 4 after this hallway? No, I don't think we will. But no, look. There, by the stairs. See how the gate is open? When we went to the kitchen, it was closed. But it's open now. What do you think that means? They opened it. Most likely. Then if we take Route C, we're going backwards. That would be pointless. And that means... they want the D. Exposition is an art form. Let's get on the different ship. Route D then. Yep, D it is. Yep, Route D. Everybody say it, then reset. Please, just keep talking about the same thing over and over. They jogged down the stairs until they reached the C deck. Just to be sure, they kept going to check the deck beneath. Yep. Yeah, just like I thought. Deck D is totally underwater. Just like the bottom of the central staircase. The water gazed back at them, like the abyss. As ominous as it was, Junpei took at least some comfort from the fact that the level hadn't gone up much since the last time he'd seen it. They turned back to C deck. It didn't take them long to find the 2 elevators in front of the staircase. They looked identical to the elevators on the top floor, with one exception. These elevators had a card reader on the wall between them. And the card reader was a strange mark. Hey look, it's Lotus's symbol. Huh? See? It's a woman's symbol with a thorn on it. That seems like... smackaroo! Ouch! Ouch! Ita! Lotus had taken hold of Junpei's hair. She began to shake him violently, and he thought he heard a low growl coming from her throat. Such violence! Junpei began to wonder if she was not the devil itself. With an uncomfortable smile, June spoke up. This is a Mercury symbol. The thorn symbolizes the wings on Hermes' staff. Herpes, whatever. We can't get this thing to work. These elevators aren't going anywhere. In other words, we need a keycard with a Mercury symbol on it. Probably. We should start a drinking game. Every time they say in other words, take a drink. They gave up on the elevator and returned to the stairs. A hallway stretched out to the left. A great many doors lined both sides of the hallway. They weren't sure how many, but certainly enough to be discouraging. Damn it. Try to search all these. The sun's gonna go down before we've done half of them. Sun's already down. Thank you. I have a feeling this ship is the only thing that's going to be going down anytime soon. That's even worse. Well, we can come back to this hallway later. Let's check the hallway on the other side, shall we? Frustration and fear building. They walked back to the stairs. To the right was a small hallway. Quickly, they headed into it. It was approximately the same size as the alcove in front of the stairs. The hallway led toward the stern, and at the end was a set of double doors. Let's open it! Junpei nodded and grabbed the one closest to him. He gave it a small tug and felt it move. That's what she said. It was unlocked. Buildup found an unlocked door. He threw it open. And surprise of surprises, guess who was there? Junpei didn't know what to make of what he saw. What to make? He simply stood, unable to speak, and the other simply stared, open-mouthed. After a few long moments, Santa managed to spoke. What the hell is this? A massive room stretched out in front of them, more a cavern than a room. Its vastness was oppressive and bore down the 4 companions. It was not empty, however. The entire room was filled with lines upon lines of beds. They were simple things, little more than pipe and thin mattresses. Is this a hospital? He had at least been able to put a name to the harsh scent that pervaded the room. The room swam with the harsh, biting smell of antiseptic. In the center of the room were shelves stacked with medicine and a number of medical devices, the function of which Junpei did not know. More importantly, however, on the back wall of the room were 4 doors. I'm totally going to forget to edit out me clearing my throat there, so I apologize for that. 3 of them were emblazoned with large, single-digit numbers made with thick red paint. The door on the left was labeled 3. And the second door from the left had no number, but the third had been given a 7. And the rightmost door had an 8. Well, Santa, June, and Lotus can go through that one right now. There could be no doubt they were numbered doors. It did strike Junpei as strange, however, that the door between 3 and 7 should be blank. What, he wondered, could it mean? Let's take a look at the doors. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Junpei headed toward the doors, winging his way between the beds. He started with door 3 on the left and moved to the right until he reached door 8. He was surprised. It's no use. Well, of course. If it was that easy to open these doors, what would be the point of the nonary game? We have to activate the red, or the numbered doors won't. Wait a minute. What's wrong? Look, the display on the red. There's nothing on it. Huh? Don't you remember? The red of the central staircase? No one was inside. It said vacant. Oh yeah, you're right. But this one... there's nothing on it. Right? Wonder if it's broken. Only one way to find out. Nothing. It didn't respond. All 4 took turns placing their hands over the red, but it refused to respond. They pulled a lever, and it still did nothing. As they soon discovered, it wasn't only the red for door 8 that was behaving strangely. The red on door 7 also refused to respond. And door 3 was similarly silent. None of them would respond. What did it mean? Haha, I knew it. They're broken. Zero sure sucks at maintenance. Yeah, that's real funny. Now we're all stuck in here. No, that's impossible. You really think Zero, who prepared all of this, would make such a stupid, simple mistake? Maybe, but that doesn't explain why this thing ain't working. It was at that moment that they heard a voice from behind them. I believe the bottom of the device has been removed. They spun around to see... Snake! 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 But it was more than just Snake. Ace, Clover, and Seven quickly filed into the room as well. Although they were glad to see one another, it wasn't terribly surprising that they had. If it had been the other party who'd opened the gate in front of the kitchen, it wasn't unreasonable that they'd bump into one another eventually. The rest of the Snakes team, however, did look rather surprised. How? How did you end up here? Magic. After a moment of silence and surprise, yep. They talked about rooms they'd been through and how they ended up in the same place. Of course, none of it was very useful information, but that hardly mattered. They were happy to simply see one another again. Although the level of cheer varied greatly from person to person, each one of them was wearing some manner of smile. Almost as though they had already forgotten about the death of the ninth man. No, thought Junpei, perhaps that wasn't it. Perhaps thoughts of his death were what drove them to smile at one another. Not in a morbid or hateful way, no. The ninth man had died. They are still alive, and that was something to be happy about. Sort of simple, uncomplicated joy, Junpei thought. The joy of being alive. Can I skip this? I cannot. Still alive. He felt sorry for the ninth man, but more than anything, Junpei was just happy to be alive. Word up, son. There you have it, our half of the story. His part finished, Ace fell silent. For a moment, Junpei was silent in thought. Then he spoke. Okay, let me see if I've got all this straight. When you guys got here, the bases for the Reds were already gone. And you looked all over this room, but you couldn't find anything? So you figured that there might be something in the hallway with all the doors. So you went and had a look. Yeah. And while you were looking around, you heard voices? Uh-huh. So you followed the voices and came back here. Indeed. And that was how we found you. Junpei examined the three Reds again, just in case. On the bottom of each was a long, thin gap. Looked like a slot for something. Probably something electronic. Well, this isn't good. The ride is inactive. We can't keep going. Now, what about the hallway over there? Isn't there anywhere else we can go? No, there isn't. There are plenty more hospital rooms, but nothing else. Hospital rooms? That's what's behind all those doors? Yeah. There are a number of individual rooms, in addition to this large one. There was a door at the end of the hallway, but it was locked. There was an astrological symbol engraved near the keyhole, however. I was able to get a feel of it. I believe it was a symbol of Jupiter. Not again. Those damn things are everywhere. I wonder what they all mean. For a moment, everyone was silent, deep in thought. While asking what these things mean, what's the deal with this room? I mean, I thought this was a cruise ship. I can't imagine a cruise ship would have a hospital like this. Of all people, it was Seven who answered, and with calm confidence. Well, I figure it's probably a hospital ship. Chances are, it's the Gigantic. The Gigantic? Junpei looked confused. So did everyone else. What is this Gigantic? Seven knit his brows for a moment, then began to explain. The Gigantic. He explained that she had been a sister ship to the Titanic, built in the early 20th century. The Titanic had two sister ships, who were identical to one another in nearly every aspect. The Gigantic was said to be one of them. She was initially intended to be a passenger liner, like the Titanic, but soon after the ship was launched and the First World War began, she was pressed into duty by the British Navy as a hospital ship. Sometime later, the Gigantic was damaged by a German mine in the Aegean Sea. She managed to run aground after the incident, and consequently was not sunk. What then happened to the Gigantic after her fateful encounter in the Aegean Sea? One theory ran that the man named Lord Gourdain purchased her. Lord Gourdain, it seemed, had been one of the few survivors of the Titanic tragedy, and that trauma had turned him into an obsessive collector of all things related to the Titanic. As his obsession deepened, he began to desire the Titanic itself. That, of course, was impossible. The Titanic lay at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. The Gigantic, however, had not suffered such a dire fate, and as she was identical to her sister ship, she got Lord Gourdain's eye. So you're saying this Lord Gordito bought this ship? Yeah, at least I think I am. That's impossible. Now we're on some boat that's almost 100 years old. Pipe down, just pay attention. What, that's it? Well, have you got any proof? Proof? Proof that this ship is really the Gigantic. Well, the ship's got stuff that's like the Titanic and a hospital ship, so I just figured. Oh, for goodness, don't tell me that's your only reason. No, I've got more. Like? Well, I mean, seems very familiar. Seven looked around desperately, doing anything to avoid meeting Lotus's piercing stare. He scratched his head for a moment, then gave up. Finally, he opened his mouth. I don't know. Lotus sighed and shook her head. Guess your memory isn't back yet, is it? Man, sorry about that. Hey, wait a minute. Memory isn't back. Junpei was, he felt, legitimately shocked by what seemed to be new and very important information. Everyone else, however, seemed unimpressed. In fact, they looked at Junpei as though he had said something very strange. He decided to revise his attitude for the next question. Wait, was I the only one that didn't know? Everyone nodded. Why? Oh yeah, I guess I didn't tell you, huh? I told the rest of them before I ran into you on the stairs. Told them I couldn't remember a damn thing from before I woke up. What? Then, almost as if to save Junpei from further embarrassment. A bell began to ring from far away. Sounded as though it was the clock at the main stairway. Junpei counted each chime carelessly. 86, 92. It was 92 o'clock. Maybe still got 6 hours left, right? You don't have any time to screw around. Let's get going. We gotta find the missing butts for the Reds. What do you mean, find? I wonder if you propose we do that. We looked everywhere in this room. That only leaves one place to look. What? Well, I guess it's not really right. Bleh. I thought they were there already. Wait! Don't tell me you mean we need to search all of the other rooms. Don't freak out. I've already searched 4 of them. Oh, sweet. 4 rooms. You just have to split up the rest between the 8 of us. If each person does 6 rooms, that'll be 48 rooms, right? So there are 48 rooms left? Her early experiences had apparently not encouraged Lotus to trust Seven. Seven scratched his head awkwardly. I don't know. After a little more discussion, they split up and headed towards the rooms and began searching them. Junpei was chosen to search the rooms on the starboard side, moving from fore to aft. They also determined that they would return to report their findings the next time the clock sounded the map. When it did, they would meet back at the large central room full of beds. If, during their search, any one of them were to locate the missing components, they were to yell for the others. If their strategy failed, they would return to discuss their options later. The details decided, they left to begin searching. Out into the hallway they went, each to the rooms they'd been assigned. However, what happened? From far away, Junpei heard the bell ring. It did so only once. It was 1 a.m. He jogged through the entrance of the large hospital room to find 6 of the others already there. Ace, Santa, Clover, June, Seven, and Lotus. They had gathered in front of the door number 8. Or perhaps, to be accurate, they had gathered in front of the red next to the door number 8. Had one of them found the missing piece? What happened, guys? It was June who answered him. Jumpy, look. She was pointing at the red. He pushed through the others until he stood in front of it. Immediately, he knew what she had meant. The display on the front of the red read, "Vacant." Junpei sighed. Come on, guys, who was it? Thought we were supposed to yell if we found it. Well, Junpei wondered why she was hesitating. The others looked as confused as June, but kept their mouths shut. What the hell? What is up with you guys? They all knew something he didn't, and Junpei wasn't about to leave things that way. Finally, Lotus frowned and spoke. Well, that's the thing. We don't know. You don't know? When I got back, it was already like this. There was no one else here. That means I was the first one back, but the missing parts were already back in the red. Junpei looked at the bottom of the red again, just to make sure. The slot that had been open on the bottom was now covered with metal. Clearly, whatever had been missing had been returned. What about the other 2? They're the same. Junpei quickly examined the other 2 boxes. Satisfied that they were also repaired, still very confused, he returned to the others. Alright, I just want to be sure here. Nobody has any idea what the hell happened here, right? Ace and June nodded silently. Seven raised his hands as to say, not me, and Santa just shrugged. Oh, poops, only Clover lowered her head and did nothing. Huh? Wait a minute. That was when he noticed. Where's Snake? Snake? Snake! Junpei swept his eyes across the room a second time, but Snake was nowhere to be found. Does that mean that he found them? I have no idea. There's nothing to suggest it, but nothing to suggest he didn't either. I don't suppose we'll know until we can ask him in person. Well, whatever he did or didn't do, he's pretty damn late. What the hell is he up to? Maybe he's lost. Yeah, well, that seems likely. Dude can't see. I don't know how he gets around in the first place. Clover raised her head. Shut the fuck up! Suddenly, she was shouting. Yeah, my brother's blind, but he's got really great hearing. He can get around as well as anyone who can see. So he couldn't get lost. That's impossible. C'est impossible. Clover had started to shake, and the knuckles of her hands had gone white. She spun around, but before she did, Junpei noticed tears welling up in her eyes. I'm going to go look for him. The words were barely out of her mouth when she began to run. Hey! Hold on, Clover! Wait! Junpei cried out to her, but he was too slow. She kept going, and before anyone else could react, she was gone. Damn it! What should we do now? Well, the red is working now. No, we're not leaving 2 people behind. We should go back to look for them. Oh man, this ain't good. Oh yeah, what an excellent idea. We just wasted a bunch of time looking for some piece of electronic junk. Now let's waste some more time by looking for a couple of idiots. And remain here if you feel you must, but there's no time. We've only 5 hours left. Junpei and the others nodded to one another and took off at a run. Well, I hope we find him this time, because that sure as hell did not work last time. And I hope I can end this with everyone surviving, including the ninth douche, but I don't know. I'll do this ending, check all the walkthroughs, and see what I need to do to get all the endings, so holla.